Dibawakan oleh penaja utama jelajah jiwa SME, Unify Business, rakan digital pilihan anda.
Salam sejahtera, anda sedang menyaksikan Niaga Awani bersama saya Nina Rozman. Seperti biasa jam ini kami akan membawakan pelbagai rangkuman berita niaga ekonomi dari peringkat tempatan hinggalah ke peringkat antarabangsa. Dan saya akan mulakan dengan laporan ini terlebih dahulu dengan kerajaan perlu menyelesaikan masalah ketiadaan stok minyak masak bersubsidi di pasaran sebelum meneruskan langkah menyasarkan semula subsidi barangan keperluan asas itu. Penganalisis Ekonomi Putra Business School, Profesor Mada Dr. Ida Mat Yassin berkongsi pemerhatiannya yang mendapati bekalan minyak bersubsidi sukar didapati di pasaraya.
Tentang minyak masak ni kan, beras saya kurang perasan lah, tapi minyak masak saya akul lah kerana setiap minggu pun saya pergi membeli di pasar raya. Minyak masak ni bukan sentiasa pun ada, yang maksud saya yang subsidi ya, RM2.50 seliter ni. Bukan sentiasa ada pun. Sebilang kali pergi susahlah nak dapat, sekali-sekala aja ada stok tu, entah ke mana hilangnya saya pun tak pastilah. Jadi itu menjadi satu isu lah, kadang-kadang bukan saja nak menentukan dia ni Malaysia ke tak Malaysian ke, stoknya pun tak ada di kedai tu kan. Jadi nak tak nak terpaksalah kita membeli harga penuh lah ya, minyak masak ni sekali ganda lebih mahal daripada harga bersubsidi.
Tambah beliau, kerajaan juga perlu memastikan pengusaha kedai runcit kecil dan kedai runcit di luar kawasan tumpuan dilibatkan sama dalam pelaksanaan penyasaran subsidi ini. Dan bukan hanya syarikat besar yang layak membekalkan barangan bersubsidi kepada pengguna. Dalam temu bual sama pensyarah kanan Bahagian Ekonomi Pusat Pengajian Sains Kemasyarakatan Universiti Sains Malaysia, Dr. Abdul Rais Abdul Latif berpandangan aspek pelaksanaan ini perlu diberikan tumpuan agar kerajaan tidak terperangkap dalam polemik yang berpanjangan.
Jadi saya kira untuk perkara ini, kerajaan perlulah mengambil langkah yang lebih proaktif dengan memastikan bahawasanya keterimaan rakyat bagaimana boleh terima dengan mekanisme yang telah dicadangkan dan bagaimana ini boleh dilaksanakan. Penyediaan infrastruktur seperti yang telah dinyatakan itu perlulah jelas dan memudahkan kepada pengurusan sistem itu dilaksanakan. Jika tidak, ini akan terus menjadi sesuatu polemik sehingga menjadikan ini adalah politik ekonomi yang menjurus kepada ketidakpuasan hati banyak pihak.
Pandangan berkenaan dikongsikan dalam program agenda AWANI pada Rabu. Pada Isnin, Timbalan Menteri Kewangan Lim Hui Ying berkata kerajaan akan meneliti pelaksanaan penyasaran semula subsidi dan bantuan ke atas barangan bersubsidi lain seperti gula, beras dan minyak masak secara berperingkat dan berfasa.
Sejamas World sedang berhad, penyedia penyelesaian automotif memperkenalkan bateri madani. Jurucakap Sejamas World Alfred Kenneth Jinggelam berkata matlamat utama pelancaran bateri madani adalah memastikan bateri automotif berkualiti tinggi dapat dimiliki oleh setiap rakyat Malaysia tanpa membebankan kewangan. Pelancaran bateri itu disempurnakan oleh Perdana Menteri Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim. Bateri madani direka untuk menawarkan kebolehpercayaan, kemampuan dan akses mudah kepada semua pemandu Malaysia, khususnya dalam kalangan komuniti B40 dan M40. Menurut Sejamas, harga bateri grade premium ini bermula daripada hanya RM130 termasuk pemasangan profesional, diagnostik dan pengukuran. Harga ini sehingga 50% lebih rendah berbanding pilihan setanding pasaran. Produk ini dibangunkan melalui kerjasama pengeluar global dan setiap unit bateri madani hadir dengan jaminan selama setahun atau 20,000 kilometer bagi kenderaan persendirian. Tambah Alfred, bateri madani bukan sekadar produk komersial, sebaliknya merupakan inisiatif sosial berimpak nasional yang menyokong keperluan rakyat Malaysia serta menggalakkan daya tahan ekonomi komuniti.
As Malaysia continues to refine its housing delivery system, the Build Then Sell BTS model has re-emerged as a key policy considerations under the 30th Malaysia Plan. The Ministry of Local Government Development KPKT has proposed a phased implementation of BTS, aiming to address long-standing issues such as abandoned housing projects and to strengthen consumer protection. Unlike the conventional sell then build (STB) approach, BTS requires developers to complete construction before collecting the bulk of payment from buyers, a potentially safer and more transparent process for home ownership. However, this shift also raises questions about developer viability, financing mechanism and market affordability. Joining us today is Sulaiman Sahir, Director of Research and Consultancy Services at Rahim & Co International, Sedang Berhad. Thank you very much, Sulaiman, for joining me. As we can see that a few of the reports also showing that we can see that the high transaction, we can see more sell house in Selangor and in Kuala Lumpur. But to start us off within the conversation, maybe you can explain what the Build Then Sell BTS model is and how it differs from the conventional sell then build SCB approach used in Malaysia today.
Good morning. Nice having you here to actually share my thoughts here today. On BTS, or Build Then Sell, versus the existing system that we all know, which is actually Sell Then Build, which is STB. The difference is when you actually have a property, a single property, right now in Malaysia, we employ or deploy the system of Sell Then Build, which means that developer would actually sell the property to the buyers, where they actually sign a sale and purchase agreement, arrange their financing, and pay pay the payment for the house as the transaction progresses as you go along. What BTS, or Build Then Sell, is where the developer would actually sell the property only after the property is actually built, which means that they would actually have to build the property first, raise up their own funds, raise up their capital, build the building until completion, and only then the property is being sold to the buyers. Hence, eliminating the risk of uncertainty, how's the property going to look like, whether the quality is okay or not. People can actually see the property as it is already completely built with the CCC, or Certificate of Compliance, where buyers would then be more secured and hence reducing the risk of buying a project that runs the risk of being abandoned and being stuck with an abandoned property. That is basically the BTS versus STB, the Build Then Sell versus Sell Then Build.
And that is to help us understand between these two approaches. And the government KPKT, specifically under the 13th Malaysia Plan, or as we call it RMK 13, has raised the idea of making BTS compulsory in phases. From your view, what have been the triggers in Malaysia for this renewed push? Is it more about consumer protection or a reaction to issues like abandoned projects? Because previously, the government says BTS will help curb abandoned housing projects by 2030. So how realistic is this target, and to what extent can BTS help achieve it versus other reforms?
I would say the primary driver for the BTS concept to be pushed to become mandatory, as it's been proposed right now, is the issue of abandoned projects that we have actually faced. The number of abandoned projects that we have seen over the years constitute to thousands of units, amounting to billions of dollars, billions of ringgit, and affecting thousands of Malaysians stuck with property. They've actually signed a sale and purchase agreement. They can't actually exit from the sale. It's very hard for them to exit from the sale and purchase agreement. Continue to actually pay the banks because some of the banks have actually started disbursing amount, and hence they are paying funds, but the project is not going to be completed anytime soon or within the foreseeable future. So that problem is the main driver for this BTS being mooted, which then basically explains how the mechanism of BTS being sell only to the buyers after the building's already been completed, which means that buyers are actually protected. There is a bit more consumer protection there, as well as the security of the unit, as well as the quality that you actually get for the particular unit. So that mechanism protects the buyers in that sense. However, we have to also see that with BTS, one of the biggest challenge right now is actually on abandonment. That's the main issue that's being highlighted here. But there's also the issue of affordability. There's also the issue of how the supply chain or the efficiency of supply within the market, which also needs to be looked at, because BTS has its pros, definitely, but it also has its cons, because there's limitations for those who are able to deploy BTS system and those who are really in need to actually use continuously the STB or the sell then build system.
As you mentioned that this is a approach that protect mostly the consumers, and under the 1090 BTS concept, buyers would pay 10% upfront and only 90% upon completion and a vacant possession, considering that you say one of the main issues we still have about abandonment, affordability, all the pricing. So which sounds ideal for consumers, but what are the real benefits from the perspective of buyers, developers, and even financiers?
From buyers, the benefit would be it's more secure. They would actually have more confidence within the market. The market generally becomes more transparent. And these are all ideals within any market, so that the market becomes more sustainable, more dynamic, and therefore more thriving. Yes, it is. The benefit for the developers would be, this would be a developer who can actually ensure that the product that they actually build and sell reflects their original intention, reflects their quality control, reflects their ability to actually deliver what they promise. So those two would actually be beneficial to both those parties. To financiers, when they actually do build then sell concept, the funding is basically given to buyers who already own or already coming to a possession of a completed property, which means that the risk of foreclosure, if it were to have actually happen, the property is actually a completed property that can actually be sold off easily to the next buyer. That's from that sense. But the disadvantage or the weaknesses or the risk with BTS is, due to the developer having to develop the units upfront first, the flow of funds that they actually get in, which all traditionally right now under the sell then build concept, where buyers will actually pay progress payments, that risk is now transferred wholly to the developer. It is actually a business consideration, if you like, for the developer as a business would actually bear the risk. But because we as a community, as the whole market is already used to the system of sell then build, and the mechanism that actually allows the developer to do the current pricing model using the sell and build, that may change because cost of funds, holding costs for the developer, raising capital, financing costs for the project finance would actually be higher, which then needs to be addressed. And this is where the government, should we actually deploy BTS as a mandatory system within the market, needs to come into support. So that's why the supporting can be done through phased implementation according to the location or according to the sensitivity of the market or the vulnerability of the market, where if there's too much speculative market, maybe we actually do build then sell. If it's a market where it is actually predominantly genuinely strongly driven by owner-occupier within the mass market, within the M40 or V40, this is where probably we sustain with a mixture, a hybrid of sell and build as well as build and sell, to make sure that affordability and pricing of houses would actually still remain manageable, as well as the number of developers who can afford to play their role as a developer, because BTS would require more capital and only the larger developers can actually afford, sieving out some of the smaller developers.
All right, that is some of the real benefits that the buyers, developers and financials should be prepared for. But also you've just shared with us what are some of the risks or potential pitfalls they should watch out for, and maybe some of that they should address it immediately. And for buyers and developers, what supportive measures of safeguards should the government prioritize to make broader BTS transition viable in Malaysia? For example, financing mechanism, long stop guarantees, or even tight adoption BTS for large developers first. What's your thought on this, Sulaiman?
Yeah, the model for BTS, if we were to actually implement it, it must be implemented in a phased manner according to the market capacity, the demand capacity, as well as the supply chain capacity, which is the developers. So when we actually do this, the support would actually be from, because of the foreseeable increase in cost from the developer, or the developer bearing more risk and hence wanting having to actually price the house a bit more higher. That will be compensated if the government can actually give incentives in terms of reduction in premiums, for example, or reduction or discount in terms of the compliance costs, or even incentivizing certain schemes where there's a scheme for credit guarantee for developers who actually facilitate their funding needs. With that system, we can actually give better leeway for the system to actually be implemented. But one thing that we have to actually talk about, you actually mentioned the system BTS right now there's a strict BTS as well as the sell and build. There's also the midway point, which is the 1090. That's one mechanism here, which was actually mooted a few years back, already about 10, 15 years ago. But it's on voluntary basis, and there's not much traction, I have to say, with regards to those schemes. But the 1090 system itself may warrant a bit more investigation. It can be 1090, it can be 2080. There's a leeway that you can actually play around to find a sweet spot that is manageable for the market to actually basically use BTS, hence having a better security or protecting the buyers, as well as allowing the market to still be fluid and dynamic so that the supply chain is not disrupted towards getting a better balance within the market.
Sulaiman, we are at the end of our session. I would like to add one more question for you. Given the trade-offs between buyer protection, developer viability and affordability, what is your outlook for Malaysia's housing delivery future? Will BTS become the dominant model, remain as an optional model, or will we see a hybrid system?
I would say it will be a hybrid system. It will be a hybrid system because Malaysia right now, as opposed to some of the advanced countries, advanced economies, where market is much more matured, who have already deployed the build then sell concept in full, we, Malaysia, is still an emerging nation. We are still developing. It is not just about the home buyers who are actually challenged with the rising home costs or housing costs, as well as stagnant wage increment, but also businesses, because the opportunity here it's a bit different. The market dynamics is different, and hence it's going to be a hybrid between BTS and STB. It's going to be more pragmatic in terms of its approach, which we hope the government would actually be very involved and gathering full stakeholders engagement from. Developers is one, buyers is one, the local authority and all the authorities is another, consultants is another, and banks and financial institutions, because all of us would actually play and need to actually play a big role to make sure that the development of the housing market in Malaysia grows sustainably and continue to be thriving.
And what can we learn from countries that have applied this BTS model successfully?
The enforcement is actually of paramount importance, and identifying, monitoring throughout continuously, and identifying problems before it becomes a major problem. You see with the task force, the government have actually formed a task force to actually revive certain abandonment projects. From these models, we see that there's white knights and those rescue mechanism is actually implementable, but it costs money, and it costs non-financial terms as well to to the emotions of all our peers, our home buyers in Malaysia. So the monitoring, enforcement, as well as political will and transparency within the system is actually needed, with the support by the government for all this to actually be successful.
Definitely, it's not easy talking about balancing, we can say, balancing promises, protection, and practicality in the context of build and sell. But as you mentioned, I like what you said lastly, we need to identify the problem because it becomes a major problem. I think that is the first step we can move forward. And again, I would say thank you very much and hope we can have another discussions on property trend. And again, to our guest, Sulaiman Sahir, Director Research and Consultancy Services, Rahim & Co. International, sudah berhad, and definitely all of our discussion here will be featured in AstroAwani.com across all social media platforms. Alright, for the next update, kita akan melihat apakah antara penerimagunaan kecerdasan buatan AI di Malaysia meningkat sebanyak 35% tahun ke tahun dengan kira-kira 2.4 juta perniagaan pada masa ini telah menggunakan AI menurut laporan Amazon Web Services AWS syarikat milik Amazon.com. Pengurus negara AWS Malaysia, Husin Muhammad Ali, dalam laporan bertajuk Unlocking Malaysia's AI Potential berkata, kadar penerimagunaan AI meningkat kepada 27% pada 2025 berbanding 20% pada tahun lalu. Bersamaan kira-kira 630,000 perniagaan yang menggunakan AI tahun ini atau lebih daripada satu perniagaan bagi setiap minit.
And it's also very profound to see that it's a 35% year-on-year growth in terms of the adoption of business. Now, what does it mean? In terms of we see the need to actually bridge the gap between businesses adopting basic AI versus a transformative implementation of AI. And today, at the moment, 72% of businesses are at the basic stage of adoption with efficiency gains and productivity gains, but we need to move towards a more transformative type of AI adoption. And from AWS Malaysia perspective, we remain committed long-term to help businesses to achieve or accelerate the AI adoption by bringing world-class global infrastructure such as the Amazon Bedrock services that allows essentially businesses to leverage on AI services with pre-trained models such as from Anthropic, from Mistral, from Stability AI, and also even from our own Amazon Nova models. And they can use this to actually experiment and build AI, generative AI or AI solutions to drive towards their business outcomes.
Tambahnya, hanya 31% syarikat pemula niaga dan 15% perusahaan besar sedang membangunkan produk berpacukan AI baharu yang sepenuhnya. Laporan itu memaklumkan bahawa menggabungkan ketakasan dan inovasi syarikat pemula niaga dengan skala serta sumber perusahaan besar boleh memanfaatkan potensi ekonomi Malaysia berpacukan AI. Menurut AWS, produktiviti dan impak ekonomi daripada AI amat memberangsangkan dengan 65% perniagaan di Malaysia melaporkan perolehan yang lebih tinggi dengan purata peningkatan sebanyak 19%, manakala 72% memaklumkan peningkatan produktiviti yang ketara. Selain itu, 67% responden menjangkakan penjimatan kos secara purata sebanyak 15%. Laporan itu yang dijalankan dengan kerjasama Strand Partners melakukan tinjauan terhadap 1,000 pemimpin perniagaan dan 1,000 orang awam di seluruh Malaysia bagi menilai skop dan prospek penerimagunaan AI di negara ini. Menurut beliau, ekosistem AI Malaysia sedang membangunkan pengkhususan semula jadi yang mewujudkan kitaran inovasi yang kukuh.
So from the research, we have recommended a three-pronged approach, namely to boost scaling and in terms of digital capabilities. Secondly, to promote a pro-growth and pro-regulatory innovative regulation. And of course, like you mentioned, third and foremost is when public sector modernization leads, the businesses actually adopts or adopts AI. And from AWS, we believe that upskilling and really driving digital skills initiative is important to bridge the gap that has been highlighted in the research. And today we are driving programs such as Tumpuan Malaysia, where essentially we are collaborating with L3 Malaysia and AWS to bring upskilling programs to over 20,000 students, partnering with up to 11 leading public university institutions in Malaysia. Second program, to give an example, is through Program AKA, an initiative that we collaborated with PayNet, one of the financial institutions, to bring more digital AI literacy to the students. But more importantly is to also bring the industry knowledge and domain together, very specific to the industry.
Mengenai isu jurang kemahiran, Husin berkata penekanan yang lebih besar terhadap pembangunan kemahiran adalah penting, berikutan lebih banyak lagi usaha yang boleh dilaksanakan untuk menangani batasan sedia ada. Beliau berkata laporan itu menunjukkan sebanyak 52% perniagaan mengenal pasti kekurangan kemahiran sebagai halangan utama sama ada di dalam atau luar organisasi mereka.
One of the customer spotlight that I'd like to mention and to share is on JDN, our collaboration between AWS and JDN to launch a AI sandbox initiative. And this is to also highlight the significance of public sector adoption of AI as a trust multiplier. With this setup of AI sandbox, it allows up to 800 government agencies to submit problem statements or use cases that they want to test. And especially around setting up, like for example, AI assistant chatbots or document automation or even predictive analytics. And in this sandbox, they are able to use and leverage our AWS, Amazon Bedrock or Amazon Q to actually experiment, test ideas and build types of solutions. And this actually highlights, also reflects the amazing opportunity that we see from the research itself, where we have highlighted over 630,000 businesses that has adopted AI just in the last year alone. That represents 1 in every minute. So it's a remarkable opportunity to see, and Malaysia is poised to lead in AI from the research that we have found.
Melangkah ke hadapan, Husin berkata AWS kekal komited untuk bekerjasama dengan pelanggan dalam semua segmen bagi menyediakan infrastruktur global dan membolehkan pensekalaan digital secara besar-besaran untuk mempertingkat penerimagunaan AI.
What do all of these companies have in common? Innovation? Yes. Transformative ideas? Sure. There's something else though. They're all technology pioneers. But what is a technology pioneer?
A technology pioneer is an individual who creates the future, does not predict it.
Tech pioneer to me is someone doing something incredibly groundbreaking, right, with either the invention or the application of technology.
It's believing in what you do and why you do it, wholeheartedly believe in the industry that I serve and in the people that I serve.
Is it someone taking the risk to go and find the truth about a path and help advance society knowledge and society in general by doing so?
Being a tech pioneer means being chosen as one of the companies that's most likely to change the world in some positive way.
Right now, there's a lot of uncertainty in the world.
The pace at which people need to learn skills is higher than it's ever been in history.
We are facing climate challenge, inequality challenge, and being a mission-driven company, we can link the profit to solve these big issues and work for the society.
Yes, it's important to get outside capital. Yes, it's important to find product market fit. But I argue even more important is for a founder to have a network of individuals that they can lean and rely on when things get difficult.
There are very few times in your adult life where it feels like you get to go back to university. And there are very few universities in the world where every lecturer is one of the world's leading experts, and every person who's sitting as a student in a room is a leading expert on something else.
Getting the ideas you see from so many other fantastic minds just gives you even more encouragement to want to be better and to make more of an impact.
It has aided us in so many ways, from being able to connect with some of the leaders of the biggest companies on the planet and make those connections, to being able to be part of this incredible cohort of people who also care about building great mission-driven companies and are helping each other along the way to do that.
Having the ability to be in this type of network with this type of platform greatly increases your odds at success. And you can define success however you want to define it, but this platform and this network will increase those odds.
If you're still contemplating whether you should be part of a Technology Pioneers program, take that step, because with this step, you will not only get access to breakthrough ideas, global thinking, but you will get access to a community that is by your side, supporting your ideas through funding, through partnerships, through very value-driven feedback to make sure that you and your ideas are successful.
Di dalam setiap berita yang dibawa, konteks amat penting. Cara kita mendapat berita kian berubah. Melalui media sosial maupun saluran digital yang lain serta kaca TV. Kami sentiasa membawakan yang tergempar dan terkini.
Kita ni buat sesuatu yang berbeza.
Teraskan acuan verifikasi yang diamalkan supaya setiap fakta adalah sahih. Daripada analisis pelbagai sudut yang mendalam, laporan-laporan khas dan perbincangan yang membina negara. Inklusif, suara rakyat kami ajukan. Keseimbangan persepsi kami pastikan. Kerana setiap cerita mempunyai impak yang tersendiri dan perlu dibawa dengan penelitian yang terperinci. Pastikan Astro AWANI menjadi pilihan anda tidak kira di mana sahaja anda berada. Saluran berita paling dipercayai di Malaysia.
Okey, terima kasih kerana bersama kami. Ini adalah The Economy bersama saya Ibrahim Sani. Kita akan memperbincangkan tentang World Youth Festival 2025 yang telah pun berlangsung pada awal bulan Ogos di Kuala Lumpur, di mana ia menterjemahkan hasil daripada warga remaja dan juga warga belia dunia. Ia telah mengetengahkan beberapa konsep seperti pertandingan business idea ataupun International Business Idea Competition. Juga telah berlangsung International Youth Summit dan juga beberapa panel discussion yang telah pun berlangsung di situ. Dan bersama saya adalah Chief Operating Officer untuk Youth Break the Boundaries, saudara ataupun bapa ya, Aldi Subakti. Okey, so Aldi, mungkin kita boleh menterjemahkan sedikit tentang background World Youth Festival dan apakah implikasinya dan juga signifikannya buat World Youth Festival di Kuala Lumpur pada kali ini?
Sure. So, World Youth Festival is an event organized by Youth Break the Boundaries. Basically, we held our event in many countries. Consists of International Youth Summit and International Competition. So, 2023, we tried to open the opportunity for young-minded from various countries to present their powerful business idea competition. So that's why we began to promote our program in Kuala Lumpur as one of the city famous with their business center.
And so for this year, what kind of business ideas were pitched and I suppose, how does this translate into real, actual business enterprises, considering that this is a competition?
Yeah, sure. So our programs is not only the event last for 4 days or and 3 nights, but before the program we had even webinar for business development and so on during 6 months, and 2 months in advance before the program we had special mentoring for the business idea competition. Hopefully that the delegates who presented their ideas at the event can properly present their mind. And the purpose is not only to promote their idea of business, but also to teach them how to maintain the business and how to secure the funding until the end. So the category of the program is divided into 2 categories, high school and also professional. For the high school, we try to teach them how to build the strong business from the earlier stage till the pitching and how to get the investor. And for the professional, we even try to scale up their business till getting the funding.
When you say international, does it truly mean international or is it ASEAN specific?
No, international. So our program in 2024 was attended by 40 plus countries.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Here, I mean, at the festivals.
Yeah, no, in many countries.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. So in last year's World Youth Festival in Kuala Lumpur, our program was attended by 8 or 10 nationalities. So yeah, we call it international as our program was attended by various nationality, and not only Asia but also from Europe and other countries.
So when you say part of the program is also trying to help them secure funding, what kind of funding do they get? Is it from public institutions like governments, or is it more of, say for instance, private investors coming into the space?
Yeah, sure. So the funding is or can be get from private institutions. So as we invited some judges and speakers coming to the program, and hopefully they can be interested in the pitching section. So with this, they can help their business to scale up. So for instance, our previous program was judged by one of the senior economists of ISDB, Islamic Development Bank, headquartered in Jeddah. So the person is interested in the project. So they mentored the delegates, and even they gave the access of the funding of the sources they can scale up. So this is what we hope can happen on our programs.
And speaking about which, so in the Malaysia leg or the Kuala Lumpur leg of the International Business Idea Competition, what were the ideas being presented, and how did you select the winner from one person to one business idea to another? What was the thinking behind the selection?
Yeah, sure. So our programs basically was registered by 100K plus.
Wow!
Every year. So yeah, in Malaysia,
over 100,000.
Yeah.
Wow.
In Malaysia only, like 10K something, and our prominent program in Istanbul and Japan and South Korea even were registered by 30K something. So from the 10K registrants, we select based on their participants' profile, as they include their profile, including their ESI. So we select them into the selection to the participants. So after that, we even select them to the interview stage. ensuring that they will present their best idea at the event. So after the interview stage, we get the fixed participant coming to the program.
Okay, and any specific areas that you guys are looking for? Say, for instance, ESG or technology scale-up or digitization businesses. What would be some of the, I guess, categories that is being found in this competition?
Well, so in the specific of World Youth Festival in Business Idea Competition, we have at least 5 subthemes, including education, technology, environment, F&B, and creative industry. So we are talking about these 5 subthemes in this program. But excluding to the World Youth Festival, we also promoting some of SDGs themes in our other programs in like Istanbul, in South Korea, in Japan, and so on.
Okay, we'll pause on our conversation. We'll be back after these messages. When we come back, we'll discuss a little bit more about the International Youth Summit that took place in Kuala Lumpur a few weeks ago.
Ada yang perdebatan bahawa GST perlu dikembalikan semula kerana ada yang mempertikaikan bahawa SST itu tidak efektif.
Isu buruh kanak-kanak bukan sahaja dalam bentuk fizikal tetapi juga bentuk moden yang lebih licik dan juga terselindung.
Kita tengok buruh kanak-kanak dan ada juga buruh paksa kanak-kanak.
Kumpulan FB dikenali sebagai grup budak-budak sekolah rendah yang didakwa menyebarkan gambar remaja perempuan tidak senonoh telah pun ditutup.
Minta maaf, saya banyak sangat dosa dekat you.
Kemunculan Azlin yang tidak disangka.
Jangan buang air atas siapa dah, Zah?
Yang kau buat anak kita tu menderita, kau sedar tak? Kau yang bodoh tak boleh nak fikir benda macam tu.
Tolonglah bagi saya satu je lagi keluar.
Bahagia atau kecewa? Sekarang ni kau memang tak diperlukan rumah ni. Kau pergi balik rumah abang kau lah.
Kau siapa? Kenapa muka dia sama macam ibu?
Nama kau siapa? Irina.
Mutiara dalam Debuan Kamus. Di Astro Ria dan Astro Go.
Thanks for staying on with us. I have with me Aldi. Let's talk about the Youth Summit. On top of the International Business Idea Competition that was done, the Youth Summit is also here to showcase some of the ideas on youth, involvement and how they express their worldview. So what would be some of the key takeaways from the International Youth Summit that you saw took place at the World Youth Festival in Kuala Lumpur?
Well, so the World Youth Festival was consist of International Youth Summit and Business Idea Competition, trying to give the participants the bright insight from the expert, from the global expert, before they present their idea. So hopefully they can also get knowledge from the expert. So after the Youth Summit, they will present their idea on the Business Idea Competition. And then they will be awarded winners and any award after the program. So yeah, hopefully by attending the program, they will not only promote their business idea, but also they gain valuable knowledge from the global expert.
Now, you've mentioned that this is not the first time that you've done this. It's done across the country, across the world, in fact, 6 cities. Why the need to have a World Youth Festival, and who is the main organizer to this? What is the main objective of us achieving or accomplishing these kind of events?
Well, so the International Youth Summit is held by Youth Break the Boundaries, our organization founded in 2016. At that time, the organization was focused on a small community, gathering the youth who are looking for scholarship. So by time we found the interest of youth to gather to be in one forum like with other young-minded delegates. So we held our first event in Istanbul, Istanbul Summit in 2017. So by time we aware that the program should continue because what we see in the youth index development, not only in Indonesia, our country, but also in many developing countries, we find the stagnant result of the youth index development. And the index can be categorized or can be taken from 5 indicators. And one of the sadness indicator is the participation or the activeness of the youth involving to the meeting. With this, we try to organize international youth summit, gathering young-minded from every countries to share their idea, to collaborate, to boost their participation and activeness at the meeting, and hopefully at the end, we can also help the rising of the National Youth Development Index.
But, okay, this is the strange part, right? From an outsider sitting across the ocean,
yeah,
I would like to argue that Indonesian youth in particular is very vocal, very active participation in terms of, say, for instance, the political discourse.
Yeah.
We saw a few months ago about the riots that's happening in Jakarta, for instance. Most of them are university students or youth. And also, from an outside observer looking in, it seems like across ASEAN, perhaps the Indonesian youth would be a little bit more active, doing a lot of youth-led activation programs, not just in the political space, but in conservation, in corporate identity, in trying to get more youth involved in social enterprises, for instance. So, is it true, as in the case where an outside observer looking at Indonesian youth as a little bit more, a little bit more participative, versus the data that shows otherwise in your knowledge or sharing just now?
Well, so to be honest, Indonesian youth are active and can be compared that one of the active youth across the nation. But what we see is to guide them to the good activity of the activeness. So what we see in current times or in the previous days, Indonesian youth are very vocal. What if they see strange thing like the government or the including the what the government did to the future of the youth and so on. But what we do is to give the good space for the youth, and we may suggest that the youth will go to the good way of the activeness. This is what we do right now. And talking about other countries, what we also do, helping youth from many countries. For instance, our delegates from New Zealand, coming from Otara Youth Hub, if I'm not mistaken, Otara Youth Hub. So they even always participated in every program we did in Japan, in South Korea, in Istanbul. So they thought that they are very happy in New Zealand. Even the government gave them such amount to participate in such activities. But what they found is that they have to go out from their comfort zone. So with this, they try to to attend the event outside their country by attending our event, and surprisingly, they even won the competition on our International Youth Summit. So with this, we are not only focusing on Indonesian youth, but also the global youth generally.
Fantastic. We'll go for one short break before we conclude our conversation with Aldi Subakti of the World Youth Festival.
Kerajaan Negeri Selangor akan melancarkan program pemberian vaksin influenza secara percuma di 4 daerah yang mencatatkan kadar jangkitan tertinggi. Pemilik atau pemandu kenderaan asing, khususnya dari Singapura yang gagal memiliki atau mengaktifkan permit kemasukan kenderaan VEP tidak dibenar keluar Malaysia selagi tidak membayar saman. Kekerapan gangguan perkhidmatan aerotrain di lapangan terbang antarabangsa Kuala Lumpur KLIA tidak boleh diterima. Buli di sekolah. Isu ini bukan perkara baru.
Buli tertakluk kepada perbuatan agresif secara fizikal.
Apa sebenarnya jerabu punca utama yang menyumbang kepada masalah ini serta kesannya kepada kesihatan kita?
Mereka akan mengalami iritasi-iritasi kepada mata. Selain itu, iritasi kepada saluran pernafasan.
Thanks for staying on with us. I have with me in the studio Aldi Subakti, the Chief Operating Officer of Youth Break the Boundaries. So Aldi, let's talk about the future right now. This is not the first time that you've done the World Youth Festival. And we know that the world is changing quite dramatically from the US, I guess, intervention and interferences towards how the global economy is operating. We saw how China is flexing, and of course, global giants and regional giants like Indonesia, of course, is now taking shape in terms of how the domination of the conversation is around ASEAN. With the ASEAN Summit in place right now in Kuala Lumpur, a lot of world leaders have descended to Kuala Lumpur and shared some policy ideas, nation-to-nation, G2G conversations, and so on. Where do you see the World Youth Festival taking shape or going forward, considering that the global landscape is as such today? Where do you see the World Youth Festival moving forward in the near years to come?
Well, so what I see is the think tank platform for the government suggesting the good way of policy to the youth. So as our programs are directing to the youth, and even our the youth participation at our program reaching 100K every year. So with this we collected a big data, and can be very big data of the youth interest. So with this in the future we may be a think tank suggesting the government with the good policy, boosting the National Development Index.
We also want to understand a little bit better in terms of the cooperation and the collaboration that you have with your stakeholders. Are you working closely with governments across the nation or across the globe? Or is there specific areas on the public sector that you're speaking to in terms of forwarding the agenda of the World Youth Festival?
Well, so the cooperation is expanding in many countries, not only the private sector but also the government. So the interesting point that we can also say that we cooperated with the national agency in Turkey. So the agency is providing the scholarship. So as we cooperated with the agency, our alumni has the good access to get the scholarship after the program. So when they are willing to apply the scholarship, so they may insert that they participated at our program. Interestingly, that many participants got the scholarship due to this case. So with this, we can say that the collaboration is not only focusing to the private sector, but also to the government agency, and we are trying to expand to more stakeholders.
If people learn more, do they go to a specific website that they can go to, or a social media account that they can follow?
Well, so the social media can be Youth Break the Boundaries. So the website also youthbreaktheboundaries.com. At the page, both website and social media, they can access or see further information about our youth summits organizing in 6 countries at least. So after that, our team also will assist if they ask or if they need further assistance.
This includes requests on scholarships, for instance?
Yeah, even on our website, since the beginning of our foundation, we spread the scholarship information, and we can say that until today, our website publishes thousands of international of the scholarship information, both on our website and also social media.
This is more on what is this, like a master's program, degree program kind of thing, or some research paper, scholarship?
Including everything, like degree, non-degree, fellowship, or short course, including everything. So yeah, if the youth are confusing about the scholarship they are going to take, so they can only visit our website, so they can search what they want to find.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for sharing. Just now you just heard from Aldi Subakti, the CEO or the Chief Operating Officer of the Youth Break the Boundaries, the organizer of the World Youth Festival, which took place in Kuala Lumpur from the 6th to 9th of October. There are also other World Youth Festival that is currently happening around the globe, so do keep an eye on that. Until then, thanks very much for watching. Catch you in the next one.